My great son would have taken care of us if he were alive. Funny. Because I was the breadwinner. Their son had no money. And they knew it. They didn't lose the church because they were old. They lost it because they were cruel. Because they lied. Because they manipulated. Because they weaponized religion against grieving children. And finally, people saw them for who they really were. The image I will never forget. My friend describing how the congregation opened those hymn-like binders. And the collective gasp that echoed through the sanctuary. People flipping pages. Eyes widening. Mouths falling open. My ex-in-laws sitting in the front pew, forced to hear page after page rustle behind them as the truth spread like wildfire. They turned around. Saw the binders. Saw the photos. And their faces went white. That moment, even if I never saw it in person, was the purest justice I've ever experienced. Sometimes, people think silence makes you weak. But silence is just patience. Waiting for the right moment. And when the truth comes out, it doesn't need defending. It speaks for itself. My daughters deserved peace. And I wasn't going to let anyone steal that from them. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying act of justice you've ever seen? And of course, subscribe for more stories just like this one. You won't want to miss what's coming next. You're at a peaceful weekend market with your daughter on her birthday. And suddenly you hear her voice on the phone, trembling, crying. Because 6 strangers have surrounded her, shouting that she's UN Christian. For refusing to obey her grandparents. Those same grandparents who tried to take your kids. Those same grandparents who lied about you online. Those same grandparents who supported your husband's affair. Well, they picked the wrong mother. And they had no idea that within 48 hours, their entire church would know everything. If you've ever wished you could deliver real justice to people who manipulate, lie, and bully kids, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle in. Because today's story is one of the most satisfying takedowns you'll hear all month. My name is Anna. I'm 46, and I've spent the last year trying to rebuild my daughters' lives after losing their father, my ex-husband, in an accident. But this isn't a story about grief. This is a story about betrayal, manipulation, and the moment I finally said, enough. Before the war. Let me start with the obvious. My marriage didn't end because my husband died. It ended because he cheated, for years, and hid 2 children from us. Twin boys. Born from the affair partner who also died in the accident. My daughters, 17 and 15, were the ones who discovered the messages, the pictures, the truth. They were the ones who came to me shaking, holding my phone, saying, "Mom, we think Dad is cheating." It broke them. It broke all of us. So when my ex-husband's parents jumped in and tried to act like we were the villains, it hit differently. They blamed my daughters for breaking the family. They blamed me for filing for divorce. And after my ex died, they even tried to gain custody of my girls, claiming I was unfit. We're literally in court over it. And if that wasn't enough, they also tried to move in with us. Which, by the way, would happen over my dead body. Where we live, Saturdays mean fresh produce, local eggs, and vendors with homemade pastries. It's my daughter's favorite weekly tradition. This time was my youngest's birthday week, so I gave her some extra money and told her, "Go wild. Buy anything you want." After about an hour, I noticed she hadn't come back yet. Just as I reached for my phone, it rang. Her voice was tiny, shaky. "Mom, I need you." Some women cornered me. My heart dropped. I ran faster than I have run in years, with my oldest right beside me. And what I saw? 6 older church women surrounding my daughter like vultures. Finger pointing. Bible quoting. Shaming her for not wanting a relationship with her grandparents. Or her father's affair children. One of them even said, "Good Christian girls forgive and obey their elders." My daughter's face was red and wet with tears. Her hands were shaking so hard she dropped one of her shopping bags. Something inside me snapped. I stepped between them and my child like a shield. Cold, controlled rage. back, away, from my daughter. My voice didn't rise, it didn't need to. The tone alone made two of them physically step back. I told my eldest, take your sister, pay for her things, go to the car. Then I turned to the group. You are grown adults. You should be ashamed. But they doubled down. They told me I was a failure of a Christian wife. That I should have obeyed my ex-in-laws. That I was destroying the family. And then, the sentence that sealed their fate. You are denying 2 orphaned boys a home because you're selfish. My daughters are in therapy because of those boys. Hearing that made my blood turn to fire. The yelling escalated. Vendors stared. Finally, the market manager asked all of us to leave, which the church women took as a victory, following me all the way to my car like a pack of self-righteous hyenas. My girls cried the whole way home. That night, I realized something. This wasn't random. This wasn't spontaneous. This was coordinated. And I was right. After my kids went to bed, I messaged a friend who still attended my ex-in-laws' church. He apologized immediately, then sent screenshots. My ex-mother-in-law had posted a long, dramatic, manipulative story in the church Facebook group. According to her, I had banished her and her husband. My daughters were heartless. They were homeless and penniless. We abandoned the orphaned twins. And worst of all, she claimed the affair partner wasn't an affair partner at all. She told the church the woman was our surrogate. And I rejected the babies because I didn't want boys. All to hide their son's cheating, because in that church, cheating is the ultimate unforgivable sin. She lied to protect him. And she painted my daughters as monsters. I felt something in my chest tighten. Not sadness. Not anger. Resolve. It was time to remind these people exactly who they were defending. Here's the thing. Because my divorce wasn't finalized before my ex died. I had every piece of evidence ready for court. Pictures. Texts. Emails. Voice messages. Even direct admissions from my ex-in-laws that they knew about the affair. No legal barriers. No confidentiality orders. And for once, I wasn't going to stay quiet. The next morning, I went to a print shop. And I printed everything. On glossy, high-quality paper. I wanted clarity. I wanted undeniable proof. I wanted every wrinkle, every timestamp, every betrayal visible. Then, I bought binders. Little white binders that looked exactly like church hymn booklets. And I spent hours, literal hours, crafting them. The first page of each binder. A high-resolution photo of my ex-husband kissing his affair partner in our living room. Her face clear. His face clear. Zero room for misinterpretation. Then I arranged all the evidence chronologically. The texts where he flirted. The ones where he confessed. Screenshots of the affair partner's pregnancy. Messages where his parents encouraged him. And the final blow, the messages where his parents called my daughters bastards and blamed them for his death. Some of these messages were sent 2 days after the funeral. When the binders were done, I stacked them neatly. 20 copies. And I drove to the church before service. There's a desk in the back where they keep the hymn books. They never check them. I slid each binder right into the middle of the stack. Then walked out. Calm. Composed. And ready. But no. This was an explosion. Because church people love evidence more than Bible verses when drama is involved. Within hours, the Facebook group became a battlefield. People were furious. The comments were brutal. So brutal the pastor himself had to moderate. They called my ex a liar, a hypocrite, a disgrace, a serpent in the house of God. They called the affair partner things I cannot repeat. And the in-laws. People shredded them for bullying my daughters, supporting cheating, lying about the surrogate story, using the church for sympathy, manipulating minors, and hiding 2 babies. Even people who previously disliked me wrote, I still disagree with the divorce, but I understand why she lost her way. I pray she finds the light again, unlike those 2 elders. 2 apology letters arrived for my daughters. And I got an official invitation from the pastor to find comfort and support within the congregation. I laughed so hard I cried. As for my ex-in-laws, they didn't just lose the church's support. They were shamed out of the entire community. They left the church within a week. My ex-mother-in-law made a final Facebook post saying, "No one cares for the elderly anymore. My great son would have taken care of us if he were alive." Funny. Because I was the breadwinner. Their son had no money. And they knew it. They didn't lose the church because they were old. They lost it because they were cruel. Because they lied. Because they manipulated. Because they weaponized religion against grieving children. And finally, people saw them for who they really were. The image I will never forget. My friend describing how the congregation opened those hymn-like binders. And the collective gasp that echoed through the sanctuary. People flipping pages. Eyes widening. Mouths falling open. My ex-in-laws sitting in the front pew, forced to hear page after page rustle behind them as the truth spread like wildfire. They turned around. Saw the binders. Saw the photos. And their faces went white. That moment, even if I never saw it in person, was the purest justice I've ever experienced. Sometimes, people think silence makes you weak. But silence is just patience. Waiting for the right moment. And when the truth comes out, it doesn't need defending. It speaks for itself. My daughters deserved peace. And I wasn't going to let anyone steal that from them. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying act of justice you've ever seen? And of course, subscribe for more stories just like this one. You won't want to miss what's coming next.